Welcome to our second part of our lessons learned from 2025 for Realtors. You're in for a treat today as I sit with Denise Vickers, who had got into the business last year, and she's going to tell you what she has learned so far and some surprising things that maybe you haven't thought of if you're thinking about getting into the industry. So let's get into it.
Feels good to be champions, champions. Feels good to be champions.
Welcome, Denise. We are doing our lessons learned from 2025 series, and I'll start off with introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi, everybody. I'm Denise Vickers. I'm known as the headband realtor here at Keller Williams Success Realty, and I'm excited to be here with you, Shayna.
Great. And so last year was actually Denise's first year in the industry, and she is killing it so far.
Well, thank
It's
you.
very exciting to see somebody get into it and just be so passionate and consistent like you are. So I wanted to start off with what is different than you may have expected getting into the industry?
Sure. Well, first off, I just want to, I'll answer that in a second, but I want to
Mhm.
say thank you to you and the leadership team. We just had our awards banquet last
Mhm.
week, and thank you for the honor of naming me Rookie of the Year. Thank you so
Mhm.
much. It just was, a really kind of a, emotional moment for me. So it's
Mhm.
nice to be recognized. As you mentioned, I'm still in my first year. I haven't even marked my first anniversary.
Mhm.
April will be a year of being a licensed realtor and hanging my license here with Keller Williams. And then, as you know, I went all in. I was working another job full time and doing this on the side. And I went all in September of 2025. So, yes, it's exciting. And there were things that I didn't expect. And one of the biggest things was just how collaborative agents are. I didn't expect to receive so much
Mhm.
support from so many veteran agents
Mhm.
who are, and I really have to say, I think that's the Keller Williams culture,
Mhm.
because I'm not sure that that's the same at all other brokerages,
Mhm.
but at least here at Keller Williams Success Realty, all of the agents are so willing to help,
Mhm.
share best practices, share their knowledge, and assist you in all kinds of ways. I mean,
Mhm.
big and small. So that was really surprising to me.
Mhm.
And I don't know why that was surprising. I just really thought that it might be more cutthroat.
Mhm.
And I suppose it is in other places, but not here.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people get into this business and they think they don't realize it's a lead generation business. They don't realize it's a people business.
Yes.
You have been in businesses like that though, so it
Yes.
may be different. But did you know that going into it?
Yes, I did. And that's why I think people who kind of nudged me towards real estate as I was looking for my
Mhm.
next career chapter, I think they saw that those were strengths of mine,
Mhm.
having been in the journalism and media industry. And, I'm not afraid to talk to a stranger,
Yes.
that they knew that would be in my wheelhouse, and that would be, something that would not be a heavy lift for me.
Mhm.
And in fact, that's one of the things I would say that it's not a lesson learned, but it just really validates the teaching that Keller Williams, that you guys provide us,
Mhm.
is that you've got to have the path is in the math. You've got to
Yes,
have
absolutely.
so many X number of conversations. If your goal is X,
Mhm.
here's the number of conversations you have to have
Mhm.
in order to get X number of appointments, get X number of contracts,
Mhm.
and things like that. And so the conversations, and putting myself out there, and the networking is really, I don't want to say easy,
Mhm.
but I would like to say is definitely a strength of mine.
Yeah. Yes, it's easy for you.
Yes, easy for
I
me.
totally think that because
Yes.
you don't know a stranger.
I don't know a stranger, and I can
Mhm.
talk to anybody about anything. And
Mhm.
I can. It seems like, I was telling my husband this weekend that I can find something in connection with everyone.
Mhm.
I don't know, why or how that is, but I always find, whether it's a state I've lived in, a
Mhm.
particular hobby, just something of commonality with somebody that I'm speaking with. So, and that really,
Mhm.
I'm not talking about real estate. I mean, that comes later.
Mhm.
It's finding those connections.
How do you find them? What do you ask that you can find a
Yeah,
connection?
well, I'll give you an example. So, I this past weekend there was a big pickleball tournament in Port St. Joe,
Mhm.
and I'm a pickleball player. So I was a sponsor of the tournament, and put up a vendor table, and and had my swag and had some of my listings, available. And as people would walk by, I mean, it might be a shirt that they were wearing, like, oh, I see, you're wearing an Auburn jersey, and I would strike up a conversation about Auburn football, and I won't make a comment about Auburn football here, but yes, people can share their misery, or their pride, on how their team does. But so it's things like that. It's just I find something. And it usually is something maybe visible. Oh, your dog is so pretty. What's his or her name? And I'm a dog lover, so it's just simple things like that that just I strike up a conversation. Yeah,
love it. So, what other lessons did you learn?
So, well, this one I brought some tools. These two things, and I mean, this is kind of simple, and it was not for me because I would never have thought of this if not for my husband. But one of the least favorite things I do is put out signs, open house signs. And, folks here have taught us, put out lots of open house directional signs, put out flags, make it a spectacle, if you will, to draw people to your open house, and then putting out your for sale signs. Well, this, is very handy. So what I do is I drill my hole in the ground with this, and then I use my rubber mallet to put my to hammer my metal signs down into the ground. And it was my husband knew that I would struggle putting the signs up, because sometimes the ground isn't always so soft. So he gave me those two things. I carry them with me all the time. Good. I have zip ties in my car, scissors in my car, straight blade in my car. These are the tools that I now never, ever imagined I would carry with me all the time.
I think people don't realize, which I realized it really quickly, and I'm sure you are too, that your car almost becomes like a mobile office.
It does.
Yes. I would have contracts in my car, things ready to go, folders, presentations, things, signs.
Yes. Changes of clothes, and because you never know what kind of conditions you're going to encounter when you're either putting out signs or showing a property. So I have some really shoes that I don't care about, stuffed in a bag, rain gear, all of those things, because you never know when an opportunity is going to happen. And quite frankly, I had those things from my past career in my car all the time as a journalist, because I always told people, you have to have a go bag. You got to be ready to go. And so, I have those things translated perfectly to real estate. But the other thing, and I'm trying to be a little funny here, but putting out signs, we have sand spurs around here. And, these little sand spurs get on your clothes and they hurt, and then taking them off. So I know that's not an important factor in, being a successful realtor, but those were things that I didn't anticipate, as kind of hazards of the job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll take my dog out to play and she gets filled with sand spurs.
Yes, and they hurt.
And they do hurt, especially in your area. Though I've taken her on walks in Apalachicola, and that's where she's got a bunch of them.
Yes, and they're not easy to get out of a dog's fur or off of your clothes. Yes. So.
All right. What other lessons?
The other lessons. So I told you I went all in September, and I don't. And people told me have a reserve, a financial reserve. So I had a 6-month financial reserve, and my, going in September, we're recording this in February. So my financial reserve is coming up at the end of March. I anticipated the winter to be slower. My activities, I did not at all lay down in, the December timeframe and over the holidays. But January was very slow. And, and February, I've got some closings. I've got some properties under contract for March. But right now, January and February, with nothing under, slated to close there, I got to tell you, that's a little scary. And so I guess the thing I would say is the lesson I learned is I probably would have could I have done it differently? I wouldn't have gone all in that time of year. I might have waited till right now, like February, because spring season's going to heat up. I'm told that this is a much more active, time period. And so because that slowness is tough on your mindset and tough on your bank account.
Absolutely.
And then the other thing I probably would have done differently is maybe have 9 months of financial reserve, because it's I don't know about you, Shayna, but I don't like to get too draw down too far in my bank account and see it get too close to not a good level. And for the first time, I'm actually carrying a little bit of a credit card balance. I never have done that for 20 plus years. So those are the things that, from a financial standpoint, as you're thinking about setting up, getting started, I think you really have to think about that financial picture. And are you prepared, for any downturns, financially, until you can get, that momentum. And, as you know, I mean, I had a good year those first few months. I had represented 8 sides in my first 8 months in the business. And, so I think that was really good for, a rookie, coming into it. But, and my pipeline is filled, but, if you don't have that timing down just right, you're not getting a paycheck.
I love that you mentioned it, because it wasn't even on my radar to talk about. But so many people get into this business or stay in this business who don't understand basic finances, and or they'll get in the business and I have a month of reserves. That's not good.
Enough.
And you're helping people with their biggest financial purchase, usually of their life. You need to be a little financial understanding to be able to help someone. And to think too, what you just said, the 8 sides that you did as a rookie. What is it? The last few years, I think about 70% of realtors didn't sell one thing. So understanding your finances and how you're going to run your business like a business and your lifestyle is so important.
Exactly. No, I have dramatically changed my lifestyle and cut back on a lot of unnecessary things as I've started this business. And I've run, as you noted, I mean, I've run business before. So that part, I was a general manager of a TV station. So I know P&Ls and, I know, the accounting principles and the different accounting categories and things like that. Somewhat different thing when you're doing it, and it's just you and you're reliant on yourself to, for all of the aspects of it, because you're wearing a lot of hats as a realtor. And and people, I think too many people get into it just thinking, I love looking at houses, and I
love heels and houses.
And I want to go show houses.
That's a small piece of it, is showing the home, the relationship building, the lead generation, having to do things that you're not in heels looking.
Not glamorous at all. Exactly.
Most of it's not
glamorous at all. And I think one of the other things, you talked about the relationship, and that's a perfect segue for me to say, I think that authenticity is super important. People, and especially now in a time and age where artificial intelligence, AI, is so prevalent. I think that not only the way you represent yourself online and the social and digital sphere, but also in person, people want real, they want genuine, they want authenticity. And so, I think it's really important. And that's going to even become even more important as we continue down this AI path. I think that authenticity is going to be a very important. That's going to really kind of separate, sort of the high performing agents from, ones who are, maybe just getting by.
I love it. All right. Any last lessons before we wrap up?
I think another thing, and my background in media and broadcast media, digital media, social media. And I think the one thing I would say is I look, I sometimes question the value of how much time any of us are spending on social media. I think we've got to do it. It's a piece of our, our strategy. But personally, I'm trying to make sure that I don't spend more time on that than I am doing phone conversations, face-to-face conversations, networking, those sorts of things. That's where my business is being built, not because somebody saw some video I posted on Facebook or on TikTok, or,
Mhm.
you know, again, not saying we don't need to do that. We do.
Mhm.
But I think you have to balance the time. And I worry that, you know, especially maybe some of the younger agents are spending an inordinate amount of time on that.
Yes.
And is that paying off for them? Maybe it is. And if it is, great. But
I'd be willing to bet it's not.
I'd be willing to bet it's not,
Mhm.
also kind of
Mhm.
why I thought it was an important piece to bring up. And
Mhm.
again, you know, not saying don't do it, just saying you have to balance,
Mhm.
you know.
Well, and it's great that you say that because I think of you as such a social media queen, right?
Thank you. Yes.
But also you
Wear my tiara.
understand the social media piece of it, that
Yeah.
it's a reinforcement,
Yes.
not the main lead generator.
Yep.
And I have this thing that I'm planning to do. It's something like rookie mistakes, how to
Yep.
avoid rookie mistakes.
Yeah.
And when I look on social media and I can see that some agent has changed their photos, and I mean their professional
Yeah.
photos,
Yeah.
every month. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
That it doesn't matter, like,
Right.
and you're spending
Get
money on
one.
that,
Yeah.
or
Exactly.
they're doing all these home tours
Yep.
versus I had an event today
Right.
for my business
Right.
and it's authentic.
Exactly.
You can almost spot somebody who is probably going in the hole
Yep.
faster
Yeah.
than actually turning a profit in the real
Exactly.
estate business.
You know, for me, I'll give two examples. I know I talked about the pickleball tournament
Mhm.
already. That was great lead generation.
Mhm.
I had a little raffle, you know, contest where people could win a pickleball bag. And so that helped me, you know, collect data. But even more than that, were just even people who didn't enter, talking about the market. You know, people ask how's, you know, and there were a lot of snowbirds
Mhm.
at this time of year at that event,
Mhm.
giving them my card, making that connection,
Mhm.
you know, and then getting their information. That was priceless.
Mhm.
I also recently did a home expo with another agent. We partnered
Mhm.
up again, collaboration,
Mhm.
and we had about 163 people enter over 2 days. And out of that, we got 52 people who said that they were considering buying, selling, or investing in the next year.
Mhm.
And we split those up. So that was 26 leads for each of us,
Mhm.
you know. And
Amazing.
by the way, I already got one under contract. I got a listing out of that one. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So
So it works.
it absolutely
Uh-huh.
works, you know. So, and there are, of that 26, you know, I still have several more that I'm
Mhm.
continuing to work.
Mhm.
But yeah, that one home expo, and it cost me $200 all in,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and you know, I've already got a listing, you know, for a
Mhm.
property from out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Love that.
absolutely,
Good.
it's great.
Well, thank you so much for doing this with me and going over lessons learned. You're
Yeah.
an amazing person to hear about things
Well,
from.
thank you, Shayna, and again, just, you know, very grateful to you and to all the leadership team here and to Keller Williams for all that you guys do to pour into us to help make us successful. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.